appreciate that. Thank you for your cooperation. First of all, I want to thank the board for allowing me the opportunity to address it. And I'm not going off on some tangent or some vagueness, and I thank you for your invitation. But I want to thank you all again. I am President LAPA, and I formed LAPA for various reasons. One, to add a little bit more professional dimension to the auction industry. I differ on a lot of things that I've seen in the past in other organizations, so I felt it was a necessary thing. But I'm asking this board to do is not to look at LAPA as indifferent, but look at LAPA as being another association that contributes to our profession. I have not felt that this board has given LAPA that type of attention and have given us that type of welcome. And I've gotten nothing but resistance as to, one, trying to get LAPA added to the website. Not gotten any statutes to state why we have not been added to the website. And it seems to be obvious that if anyone else can come and put an organization on the website, it should be afforded to all. And it seems like the board's position, which is not giving me justifiable reason on why my organization cannot be attached to the website, has kind of startled me and caused a lot of confusion in my mind as to what is the motive. Is it because it's a minority organization, or it's founded by a minority organization or person? But it doesn't seem fair that every other organization can attach itself to a state regulatory body, and my organization can't. And you can't give me justifiable reasons of why it's not. And I'm not going to back down. I'm actually going to proceed forward and want to, go even further and just find out why. Because, I don't take no without an answer and no without a reason, very likely. You got NAA, LAA, used motor vehicles, which I have no problem with, the regulatory body of the state. But, if you want to let one come on, you let all come on. If you not, take them all off. And the thing that really bothers me more than anything else is what we put out there is nothing that has not transpired in here. If it was done in here publicly, then it should be made public. And that's what I feel. We have nothing to hide. In fact, prior to LAPA's organization, no information was provided to the general public or to the auctioneer's base. They were ignorant and in the dark about what went on in these meetings. Well, we have given them insight and shed light on what goes on in here, and this is what has caused what I would assume to be a derogatory approach toward my organization. But it happened. No one in here could deny that we have falsified, altercated, or anything of the information that is found on our site. If it happened, it's factual, truthful, and actual. And all I'm asking this board to do is, like South Carolina, you know what they do? They video theirs. So they make it available to the public so they can see what type of regulatory body governs that profession. Mr. Sims, at one time while I was sitting on the board, asked to do the same thing. I think that's something that you all need to consider. Let the public see what's happening so that they can know what's going on inside this regulatory body. Because for a long time, no one knows what's happening here. Nobody's informed what's happening here. Whereas if there's information out there where the public can take the guesswork out of it, I think that's more enlightening to the public and to the profession. So when I came before the board to address the board, primarily is, number one, LAPA should be on the board site. I expect LAPA to be on the board site, or I'm going to expect every other organization that's not state regulatory removed off, because I want justification for why it has not.
You ready to answer some questions?
Wait.
I don't have to answer the question.
Jim, why don't you finish and then we'll answer this?
I've already stated, no other organization have answered any question. If you got a policy in place, I wish that you would present it to me so I can see exactly how these organizations were added and what means they went through. Because if you're going to scrutinize me, I'm telling you right now, as a board, you're going to have to scrutinize a lot of other things that I've seen going in support. I make me feel like this right here, that LAPA is being singled out because of its president, not because of its precedence.
y'all would like to answer.
Okay, are you finished now?
Yes.
I didn't want you to be in. You're finished. Okay, so the board has a question. So Mr. Phillips,
I've got some.
Jen has a question.
Pretty personally, I have no problem with WAPA or whatever you call it.
It's not what we call it, it's
Or
what it's named.
whatever it is on the website. The problem I have is the information that's on that website that I've had other people look at, and they agree with this proposal. You're riding a razor blade to put this board for a lot of liability. Now, before you jump, here's the deal.
Yeah,
Wait, one at a time. I gave you, let him answer.
he's not asking a question, he's making a
Mr.
statement.
Phillips, you need to be quiet until this gentleman finishes answering the question.
You were asking questions in here the last 2 meetings when you brought this up about your association. Ms. Jacobs asked you, and several other members asked you how many members you have. You refused to answer, you said a few.
Okay.
I don't know what a few is, I don't know whether it's 2 or 2 dozen. Now, that's number one. Number 2 is, you talk about the NAA and the LAA, they've been in business. I know the NAA's been in business for over 75 years, and the LAA's been in business almost 40. So all that was put on by grandfather when the internet came up. It didn't even exist to a website until the 90s. So it was all grandfathered because it all already existed. That's how it got on. There was no questions asked. Because that's where the bulk of the membership belongs to those 2 organizations. Now, you produce evidence to me where you got a viable association. Now, hear me, I want you to listen to this real good. You present evidence to Jim Sims that you have viable information that are members of the auction profession. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about viable auctioneers that contribute to the industry. When that's produced, I will make the motion.
Council, I'm still waiting on the question, because I mean, you sat here and said, let him ask the question.
Did I not ask you how many members you
And I
have?
told you
All right,
last
one at
time
a
I had a
time.
few.
How many?
Let me share something.
Order.
Okay,
No,
Madam
don't tell me
Chairman,
now.
Say
No,
that.
no,
you
no,
can't set me down. I
You
have-
know-
Stop it. This is not gonna be a
This is kind of
victory.
stuff.
Friday, I'm talking
Listen,
now.
but I'm
All
just
right.
telling you, I,
Stop it. Listen, we're gonna do this one at a time and orderly, or we're not gonna do it at all. You had your say, he had a response, he asked you how many members, you said a few. Question answered.
LAPA within the last year or 2.
yeah, there's no regulatory to, this relates to timeframes. I'm a Bible organization that's registered with the state of Louisiana. If there are any guidelines, let me ask you a question. If there are any guidelines that regulatory, how long, or how many, then that needs to be stated. If you want to use that as a criteria, then that's blatant discrimination, because it doesn't have any guidelines to whether or not we are an organization viable to what exists in the state and recognized by the state. And that's what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing about how many, and it's not about how many. It's a viable organization, and that's the principle that I'm standing
The
for.
question about whether or not it's viable, I mean, when you asked the question, how many members do you have, I think that that's very germane. If you only have 4 or 5 members, that's not enough to really make a difference on anything.
You don't think so?
I'm sorry, but I,
Well, let me ask you.
Get your chance. I see you waving every minute. I'm trying to focus on what's going on. This is getting so disruptive. Continue.
Okay, now, all right, Michelle. I'm not gonna really try to put, you know, if I said every organization before it becomes a viable organization, have to have a certain number of people, then, you know, 20 people on a very thin line for having to reach a goal that's not necessary, and it really is unnecessary. If it's an organization, it's an organization. It's not predicated on how many people belong to it. And if this board is going to state that, and that's what the position of this board is, then hey, guess what? We'll challenge it. Listen to me. We'll challenge it. Because let me share something.
I understand.
I'm going to address it because I'm not. And anyway, I respect what you say. But what you're saying is impartial. excuse me, partial, in the sense that you're trying to tell me, unless I got so many people, I can prove this, that, and the other. That does not prove an organization's validity. Just like an apprentice auctioneer being better or less better than an auctioneer that goes to school.
Well-
You can't do that.
Well, if you only have 5 members, would you agree that that's not representative of
It can only have one case. If it was only one, it represents the mindset of an individual who stands in precedence to a principle of belief. You don't have to have an entourage of people behind you to be viable. Just one vote, one person, one voice. You can't take away from that. If I only had one person, it would still be a viable organization. You can't take the credibility because one mind has made a lot of decisions and made a lot of changes.
That's your opinion, but I think a lot of us would disagree.
So what you're saying is,
All right, Freddie, we're gonna
Okay.
wrap this up,
Okay.
wrap it up, final
yes ma'am,
final
yes ma'am,
statement.
yes ma'am.
So I have one more person that we have.
So what you're saying, because I've never envisioned that, you know, this board would, and your questioning, a line of questioning would go to that extent to say that this is a difference with the board and how many people an organization have before it can become connected to this, this state regulatory body. And I'm gonna remember that because, you know, at some point in time, what you just said to me is, this is not an organization because you don't have many members. And I've been mocked, my organization has been mocked by the president of this regulatory body, and I'm looking at it as being something
Freddie, I don't know
that...
anybody's mocked you, so let's get to the facts,
Okay.
please.
Ma'am, I wouldn't make any statements without being factual. That's not
We're
my...
not mocking you.
But
No
I'm
one's
gonna say
mocking you,
this.
we're giving you your time.
Okay, let me say this because...
I'm giving you,
what-
I've gone over and
Well,
above.
not really, because
Not
I can
really.
go back and put the time frame on. I know how long I've been there. I have it right
I'm
here.
not cutting off the time frame. I didn't even time you. I was
No,
just letting you
but
go.
I was asking Ms. Jacobs in a more professional way, and I'm not in any way argumentative. I'm just stating facts because this has been an ongoing process. And yes, I'm getting a little frustrated with it, but you'll never see it come out of this meeting. But I'm gonna come out with it because this board has done nothing, giving me a runaround, giving the organization a runaround, and have not proven or proof or produced any evidence to state otherwise. If you give me something in writing, statutorily, regulatory, that states that, then hey, we may be on a different road right now. But you haven't produced that. You just giving me word of mouth, and I don't take word of mouth lightly. I take it seriously. Without, you know, producing something and telling me something to show me what's going on, I'm going to continue harping my issues until you can do so. But just to ask me how many number of people I have, if you want to judge every organization by the number of people, I'll let it know that this Louisiana Auction and Licensing Board has taken precedence to say that if you don't have many people on your team, you're really not recognized. And that's what you just told me.
Thank you, Freddie. All right, Robert,
Do you want-
briefly, you want to make one statement?
Do you want me up there?
Do you have a question?
Do you want, no, I don't have a question. Do you want me up there or you want me here?
I just want to know if you have a question about this. You already did public comments. Do you have a?
Yes, and I'll ask a question. Can any one of these board members name any one of the 6 tenants of LAPA? I'm serious about that. You probably know what they are, Mr. Bankston, and that alone would keep an awful lot of people from joining. And I would assume, based on Ms. Jacobs' commentary, that she's gone to every university and said, I have an objection to your dean's list having so few people.
Thank you, Robert. We understand.
My only objection is that I was not on the dean's list.
What's that?
My only objection was that I was never on the list.
Well,
I had a lot of objections to that.
All right.
I'm sorry, would you?
We're
I was
good.
never on the dean's list.
Oh, okay.
And I always wonder why.
We're done. Thank you all. Thank you.
Well, at least it ended, Joe,
Let's
believe.
get to the agenda, guys, and move on, or
Thank you.
we're gonna be here. Thank you.